Back with the Get Out Deck Guys. This is the old Get Out Deck Guy show. I'm Steve Rhode, the old, authentic, wrinkled, aged, bald Get Out Deck Guy. And with me, as always, is Damon Day, the new Get Out Deck Guy. Say hello, Damon.
Hey, everyone.
You know, it's December and you're about to drop another, $500, $3,000 on gifts? Probably.
500?
I know. I know. That's for the mail lady. On gifts you can't afford for people who don't need them. I mean, honestly, I tell all my friends and family, don't get me anything. I don't need anything.
I actually can attest to that. It's true. He tells me that every year for the last couple of years. Don't get me anything.
No.
Don't send any cookies. Don't send nothing.
No, I would much rather have time and friendship than I would another pair of gloves or cookies that will be consumed.
That's because you're aged.
I know. But, I guess
we all get to that point.
Yeah.
Experiences.
Yep.
Experiences. We want experiences.
People spend money a lot on gifts to maintain an image that's already crumbling. And somewhere in the back of your mind, there's a number. You know that number. A number you haven't looked at in weeks, maybe even months. A credit card balance, or 5 of them, maybe? You know it's bad. You just can't deal with it right now. I mean, not during the holidays. Damon and I get it. And today we're going to talk about exactly that. Why you're avoiding it and what it's actually costing you and what you can do about it right now. All right, Damon, let's talk about why the avoidance is normal and why we see the same sort of thing every year.
Well, it's because it's droned into us. I mean, the Christmas season is the Christmas season. It's about happiness and it's about joy and, giving and generosity, right? I mean, that triggers dopamine. That's fun. Nobody wants to think about financial issues.
Yeah.
They want to have fun and spend time with family. And that's what we do. And it's easy to say, I'll worry about it in January.
Years ago, I ran a contest. It was the Frugal Santa contest. And from all of my clients, I think we had 20,000 clients at that time, we solicited feedback on, hey, what can you do to make Christmas more frugal? Some of the tips that we got back were good. Some were maybe alternative tips. Like one of them was, you need to smoke more cigarettes before the end of the year so you can get the reward points to turn in for gifts.
Okay.
Another one was, you need to go out and collect as many sticks and twigs as you can so you can make some of that Martha Stewart crafty shit and give to people.
Hey, it's the Festivus for the rest of us.
Another one was, go and get whatever you can off Facebook, find all the free stuff you can, and then you can, clean it up and regift it. That's not necessarily a horrible idea. But, the point is that a lot of people overspend because they don't want to appear cheap. And all they're doing is digging themselves a much deeper hole.
Yeah. And, this podcast is not going to be about canceling Christmas or anything like that. It's just more about being mindful of what you're doing and what you're spending and maybe how to not feel so bad come January.
It's funny, when Pam and I were first married and had zero money or less than zero money, we had a couple Christmases there where everyone got 5-bean soup as a gift. We made the mix and wrote out a very nice recipe and wrapped it nicely and, gave it to people. And it was something that we did together from the heart that took time and effort. And it's funny, all these 40-something years later, how people still talk about, that was an amazing gift that we got. It cost us almost no money.
Yeah. Well, what's funny, and my wife actually brought this up to me when we were talking about the kids. This year she brought it up, but she goes, I bet you the kids probably don't even remember one specific gift.
Yeah.
Because they get so many, right? And you think about that. It probably, of all the people that you gave gifts to last year,
right?
How many of them would actually remember A, what they got, and B, that they got it from you?
Right.
You take all this time and planning and money and, oh, I got to get this perfect gift. And in many cases, a month or two later, they don't even remember what the gift was or that they got or what they got from you. Right. So sometimes you got to look out for number one.
Well, that whole unconscious spending thing about needing to maintain an image, that's where things get really dangerous, because you might spend in order to, there's a behavioral economics theory called the bandwagon effect, where you are more likely to spend the same amount the same way as the people that you see as part of your group. So if
Yeah.
other people are spending more, if they're like over decorating and doing all this stuff, that doesn't mean they can afford it either. You just need to find,
Yeah.
hopefully, I don't have a magic wand, but I wish that there was a way for me to give everyone the confidence they need to enjoy the holidays rather than dreading it and digging a deeper debt hole. So for people to make good money, $3,000 to $5,000 and maybe even more for the holiday season is not unusual. And here's the
Yeah.
fact that always surprises me is that, again, for people who make good money, 62% of people earning a family income of, $300,000 or more are carrying credit card balances. So you're not alone. This is 2025 is not the Christmas that you need to pull out your Scrooge hat, but it is the Christmas that maybe you need to subscribe and listen to us every week, because we're going to make your lives financially better over the next year.
Well, I was reading a stat. They're talking about this year, 2025 holiday season. They're projecting over $1 trillion spent, consumer spent. A trillion with a T.
Right.
With a T. And what was interesting when I was reading more into it is that the divide between the high earners and lower income earners is that because this is like an all-time high of money spent this holiday season,
Mhm.
but the higher income earners were planning on spending more money than normal, increasing their budgets for the holidays, while the lower income earners were actually actively cutting back and consciously trying to spend less
Yeah.
than they spent last year. Showing the divide between the higher income earners and the lower income earners, because with inflation and everything else, if you have good income, you have more disposable income, or perceive to have more disposable income, because you just kind of think, hey, I make good money. This should not be an issue for me. I shouldn't have to budget for Christmas. If I feel good about giving this thing, I want to be able to give this thing without having to think about it, because I make $200,000 a year or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's
But the
almost
lower
like
income earners really have to tighten that belt.
there's two camps. You have the squeezed and the pre-squeezed.
Yeah.
Because we know that the people who make good money, the higher income earners, we know they're going to carry credit card balances, and we know that they can't afford it, pay it off. They're just looking richer. So,
Well, I think a lot of that too is $200,000 5 years ago.
yeah.
Was just 5 years ago was very different. The lifestyle that you could have at 200,000 5 years ago on the outside looked very different than the lifestyle that you can have today
Yeah.
at 200,000. In just 5 years, we're not talking about a generation ago. We're talking about 2018, and it's crazy. So I think a lot of people are not even trying to keep up on purpose. It's just they're maintaining kind of the lifestyle that they've been used to for the last few years, but they're getting, like you said, pre-squeezed, and even they're starting to feel squeezed, and they're going, how do I survive on $200,000 a year? I still have more money or more month than when the money runs out,
Yeah.
even at $200,000 a year. And it's kind of I don't want to say mind F, but it's a mind screw job when you start going like, why can't I do this? I'm not increasing my lifestyle. I'm just
Right.
trying to maintain, and it's impossible.
Yeah, everything's getting expensive. And here's the flip side of that is when you're feeling more squeezed, when everything is getting expensive and you're not consciously thinking about spending, it is very easy to rationalize, this year's been tough. We should really make this good for the kids. And one set of clients that stands out to me, I can see it in my head right now, in my very early years. was a husband and wife, and they were arguing about money. And he was going, "Why can't you stop spending?" And just yelling at her in front of me. And I was like, "Dude, let's cut it back for a minute."
You're like,
And
"Hello, I'm here."
yeah. And then all of a sudden, she blurted out probably the most honest, insightful thing. And this is why it stuck with me. "Why can't you stop spending? Why are you still spending? You're spending so much money on the kids. Why are you doing that?" And she says, "Because they show me they love me." It's like, ding. Sometimes money problems are not about the money. And we say it all the time. It's just
Yeah.
math wrapped in emotion. And so if you kind of feel like you're going to end up coasting through Christmas and get whacked in the face. Now, I heard something the other day, Damon, that is very appropriate for this. So somebody said, "Is that one of those whack fuck things?" And I was like, "What?" And then I thought about it. It's like Christmas, right? You get whacked with the bill, and then you're like, "Fuck."
I've never heard it put like that.
I know. Christmas is a whack fuck thing.
Yeah. Hey, I've got a question. I should have been quicker with it.
Yeah.
But did that bean soup that you made for Christmas taste like affordability?
Oh, no. It tasted like... It was actually really good, but I guess it could have tasted like... It sure did to me.
I should have been quicker. It just popped in my head. I was like, missed it. I missed my window for the joke.
Well, all I can tell you is the family must have been delusional or something, because everyone, really thanked us for the effort. And, hey, that's understandable that it shows that you put in effort.
Plus, it was the early 80s.
Yeah.
Society has changed since the early 80s. You give somebody some 3-bean soup for Christmas today, you're off the Christmas list next year, bro.
Well, it's funny.
You're not getting the card.
It's funny because, back then, let's say 80s, 90s, you would give like the trash guy a Christmas bonus or the mail person or whatever. And honestly, we don't do that anymore. What we do instead is it's off camera, but I have a whole desk. I just got back from Sam's Club. I have a whole desk of every sort of snack thing that you can have. And the delivery people know throughout the entire year, whenever they deliver to me, all they have to do is knock on the door and come in and get a snack and a drink. So I showed them appreciation throughout the year instead of just handing them money at the end of the year.
Yeah. Well, one thing we do in my family, because I've got four immediate siblings and some half siblings and stuff, and then they all had kids.
Yeah.
Right. And we have a lot of cousins and all of that. So one of the things that we did was we just the siblings got together and was like, you know what? Let's make it easy. We did this years ago. Let's not buy each other's kids Christmas gifts.
Right.
Because it was like, okay, we got 10 cousins, we got this. And it just made it so much simpler. And, and the siblings don't get each other gifts. And now my parents go crazy for everybody. So that's probably what made it easier. We said, look, mom and dad go crazy at Christmas for all us, the kids. Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about, when the kids aren't going to remember the specific gifts because they get too many. It's like, we don't have to add on to that. So let's just make it easy. So sometimes families can do that, or they could do like a secret Santa, or I don't know, what do you call it, Steve, when they, like, you all pick a person and you're going to get like one good gift for that person, but you're not buying.
That's a secret Santa thing, I think.
Is that a secret Santa thing? Yeah, but that's a good thing. And that way it's still fun. And then you can actually spend more money on getting something nicer if that's what you wanted to do. But you're only having to worry about that one good gift rather than, okay, I have a $300 budget and I need to get 20 gifts, right? Like, that's a lot harder. Yeah, but Steve,
what?
Go ahead.
More gloves and underwear and scarves.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like there's things that you can do, and talk to your family about it, because chances are, you call your brother up and you start talking about this kind of stuff, and you've got 3 other siblings and all that, and you mention it to your brother, they're probably going to be relieved. Like, oh, thank God, what a great idea. I don't have to buy for 30 cousins. That's awesome. Let's do it. Like, get together with your your siblings and be like, hey, what should we do this year? I've got this idea. Maybe we should do this. Here's what's good. And chances are they're probably struggling just like you are and going, how much are we going to run up this credit card debt for Christmas this year? So most of them will probably be 100% on board with ideas for saving money.
Now, my parents were Depression era kids, and
yeah,
my mom's side of the family, when they would have people over for the holidays, her mom, my grandmother, would put a little piece of paper under their plate where the guests couldn't see it. And on that piece of paper, it either said MIK or FHB. So they wanted to have people over, but they didn't want to look cheap. But FHB stood for Family Hold Back. This is all the food we got.
Oh, I get it. Like don't eat seconds, Steve.
Yeah, don't take a big first helping.
Yeah, let the guests get seconds first.
Yeah, MIK stood for More in Kitchen.
So you knew you could eat more?
Yeah. Of course, she came from the same family that had the most brilliant thing when the family would have like a big chocolate cake, and somebody had to cut it. The kid who was assigned to cut it had to pick the last piece.
To make it even?
Yeah.
Well, we just did that at softball. We had a friendly intramural scrimmage, because we have 16 girls on the team. So we were doing 8 and 8. And it was like, okay, I'll coach one team. Casey going to coach the other team. And I said, all right, here's what we're going to do, Casey. You pick the teams, lay the girls out, and I pick who I'm coaching.
Okay.
So he had to lay out the teams. You put the girls, make it even. And then once you figure out who the 2 teams are going to be, I get to pick who I'm coaching. Same thing.
Yeah.
That way, you couldn't stack one team or the other.
Right.
He had to make it as even as possible because he knew I would take the better team.
And you were coaching girls on his team.
No. He would lay out the 2 teams, lay out the girls, right? And then here's the 2 teams. Which one do and I get to
you get to pick who you're coaching.
Who I get to coach. And of course, I picked the one with my daughter on it.
Well.
And last night we dominated 15-4. Thank you very much.
Good.
I don't go in to lose, bro. I don't go in to lose.
Good choice. Well,
this is a friendly scrimmage. Yeah, for you.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about why this whole holiday shame thing is deeper for people who are making good money or higher income earners. And part of the reason is that I have always found that they always think, oh, damn, I should have known better. But this is not about logic or math. The holidays are more about emotion and trying to maintain an image. And survey data tells us that this same group of people that we're talking about is more likely to lie about their debt than people who are lower earners. And probably because of that pre-squeezed thing that we talked about earlier. Because if you're already squeezed, you got to come to, terms with it. The game's up.
Yeah, it's all about, keeping up the appearance, right? Keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
Like my friend group is doing, my friend group is going to this holiday party and they're going to this holiday party and they're doing this thing or this silent auction or whatever it is. And like Steve mentioned earlier, chances are most of those people are feeling the exact same way you are, but it's kind of like, who's going to break first?
Yeah.
Right? Like nobody wants to be like, I'm going to, duck out of that this year, or I'm not going to do that. Or it's hard. It's hard for the people that make good income to admit or to, back out of certain things that they would normally go to for fear that they'll be looked at lesser or whatever the fear is. I mean, but
and the funny thing is there was a book that came out years ago called The Millionaire Next Door. And in that book, they interviewed people.
Got it.
Okay. Well, you'll have to pull it down and read it again. Merry Christmas. But
regift that sucker, bro.
But in that book, it talks about people of all different income ranges. And one of the things that came out is the people who actually have the most money and the biggest balances are those that shop at J.C. Penney's, driving an older or used car. They're not trying to spend up to the image.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So there came a point in my life, probably very soon after the five bean soup time of my life, where when
5-bean, my bad. I thought it was 3-bean.
maybe
you splurged,
maybe
bro.
I
You went
misspoke.
5-bean.
Yeah, there was Pinto and Navy and 3 other beans. But it didn't take me long after that, because soon after that we went through our bankruptcy and all that whole problem thing, and so I was pretty numbed of financial problems. So when I went to holiday parties or family gatherings after that, I felt zero pressure to keep up any appearances.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, without having a plan, no matter how much money you make, for the most part, your expenses always tend to rise to meet your income, right? And you'll see people that will be making $250,000 a year, and they'll be struggling month to month.
Oh, yeah.
Paying credit card bills, paying mortgage, paying all this stuff.
Yeah.
And like every once in a while, they'll have this reflection. And how is this possible? 4 years ago, we were making half what we're making now, and yet we're still broke. Where did the extra $100,000 go?
Well, think about...
And it's just that lifestyle creep. If you don't have a plan for that extra money, it just will creep in because it's there.
Think about the clients that you already have, that it went to Damon Day, DAMONDAY.com, and contacted you for help. Think about the ones that you already have that are bringing in more than $200,000 a year, and they're just limping along, right?
Most of my clients.
Right.
Yeah. 100%. And a lot of that is the inflation. A lot of that is not having a plan. And a lot of that is that we have to, even if it's not conscious, keep up those appearances rather than just say, hey, we have to do something different here because what we're doing is not working. So we have to get like a reset, right? We need a little reset. Okay, fine. We got to do better moving forward. Let's fix this and let's get to positive cash flow and let's do better moving forward. And a lot of it just is that mental realization that, hey, this is not working. We need to do something different. I thought we could fix it, but I went through the same thing last year, right? We had the Christmas and then I figured, okay, January, February, I'm going to fix it. Yeah. But here I am now in 2025 and now it's just a bigger pile of debt. And now we're going back through this same cycle. And, I thought I'd fix it with my bonus from last February, but that got spent on this, this, and this. We paid down a few credit cards, but now they're more than what they were before I got my bonus. And now you're thinking, well, I'll fix it this year with my bonus this year. And the cycle's just going to continue until you get off that treadmill and come up with a real plan.
Now, I'm going to say something that people are going to find surprising. Your income isn't the problem. Your income is actually your biggest asset. But we'll get to that in a moment, all right? First, I want to talk about, as you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, Damon, we're not talking about canceling Christmas or the holidays or whatever you will celebrate this time of year. We're talking about not making January worse. So what are some things that people can do right now to enjoy the holidays and not make January worse? What is the advice you would give to a client?
Well, it depends on their situation, obviously, but the very first thing is just kind of identify where you're at right now and what you realistically can afford to spend on the holidays, and then work backwards from there.
Yeah.
That's where you need to start. Don't worry about what I'm getting Aunt Joan or any of that kind of stuff. Just start with, okay, based on where we're at, what is our family's budget going to be for gifts and trips and holiday parties and whatever it is. You figure out that number and then you work backwards from there, and you'll have to probably get more creative with some of this stuff. But hey, that's just where we're at. You don't want to just say, well, screw it. We're just going to go hog wild, put it all on credit cards and deal with it in January. Because that's what you did last year.
And it didn't work.
And look how well it worked out. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that you can do that is much less expensive than buying high-price gifts and going into debt is you've got something that you can use right now that may be more meaningful, that people will actually remember, and then you can gift from your heart. And that is gift your time. I would much rather have a friend of mine call me up and say, look, let's go out for lunch, and spend an hour or two sitting there chatting and just catching up and making our relationship even better. That is so much better than another box of crap. And the only thing
Yeah.
it costs you is maybe lunch. But you're pretty special as you are. I'm not talking to you, Damon, but our listeners,
Well, I'm offended.
our listeners are pretty special as they are. And
I'm
I
pretty
don't think that
special.
they should. Well, okay. We'll get to that after the show. And I don't think
You
they
are
should.
special, Damon.
You are good enough. I don't think that they should discount themselves, that spending time with somebody else is not a valuable gift. Well, another tip that comes to mind is this whole, when I was a kid, many, many decades ago, there was this thing called the Christmas Club or Christmas Fund, where people would
Yeah.
set aside money every month,
Money in the envelopes.
right,
Yeah.
going towards Christmas. And this holiday season is a great way for you to do that for next year because you've already gathered the data and intelligence to figure out what you spent. And then you can divide that by 12 and start saving, that amount every month.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that doesn't help you guys this year, but that's, the new year, New Year's resolutions, time to do better moving forward. That's actually a great time. And I know everybody's going, are you seriously talking about cash in an envelope? And it's like, for some people, yeah, you could do that. But the nice thing is these days, because everything's digital almost. I mean,
Yeah.
I never spend cash on anything.
Right.
I never. I mean, I tend to carry a couple of fives in my wallet to tip the car wash guys. And that, that's basically it. But nothing is cash. I don't like change. But the great thing is there's apps, there's programs, there's lots of software that's out there these days that can essentially allow you to do the same thing, but they just do it digitally.
Even the Acorn app that we have talked about over this past year about, saving your spare change and making that build. You can set up a recurring monthly deposit or even a weekly deposit and let it grow that way and let it make money for you.
Yeah, there's lots of different ways to do it. You don't have to go all old school Dave Ramsey, cash in an envelope. And I know for some people are very analog type people that would they love that idea of the physical cash there and they can see it. That's fine. That wouldn't work for somebody like me.
No.
My wife, actually, it could work for her. For me, it wouldn't work. But like I said, there are programs and software that you can get to easily accomplish the exact same thing, but it's digitally separating the money, if that makes sense. Not, you don't have to have the physical cash in your hands, because that's just dirty.
Yeah, who knows where that came from?
Yeah, where did that 20 come from? That's good. You keep it.
Yeah. So let's talk about this podcast for a moment. This show is for people who make good money but are drowning anyway. If you know somebody or you feel like you're making good money and you don't know where to turn and you feel lost, alone, embarrassed, ashamed, confused, well, that's what this show is for. We're not going to tell you to stop buying your lattes or go make a spreadsheet or anything like that. We're going to talk about real solutions like debt settlement, talking to Damon, getting a strategic approach, the value of professional help instead of just going it alone. And, I've turned a new leaf here. I think that we should, over the next year, tell people exactly how people in your situation get out of debt. I mean, for real, not just pay more than the minimum. That's bullshit advice that doesn't work. So if you feel like you're making good money or you feel like you're a high income professional, you found your peeps.
We are your peeps.
So, Damon, next week we're going to get practical. We're going to talk about how to survive the rest of the holiday season without making your January self hate your December self. Now, we're going to give you specific strategies, specific scripts for saying no, and how to enjoy the holidays without that damn financial hangover.
Yeah, so, if this episode, felt like someone was finally speaking your language, if you've been looking for debt advice and that doesn't really assume you're broke or stupid, hit subscribe. Join us. Every Thursday, we're going to dig into what's really going on and what actually works. And this is just the beginning. I know we teased a few things. We didn't get into a lot of specific details, but that's for next week. So subscribe. And, before you go, here's an exercise for you. Open your credit card app or apps, because We all know you have more than one credit card. I have people that have 20, 30 credit cards. Yes, people actually have that many credit cards. So open the app, look at the number. Just look at how much you owe on credit cards, personal loans. You don't have to do anything about it today. That's just step number one. Just look at it, okay? If you want help figuring out your next step, download our free holiday debt reality check. I don't know the website link because Steve didn't send it to me.
But it's going to be
he'll
at
tell you.
getoutofdebt.org, where you can download this free holiday debt reality check. And I'll put a link right on the homepage for it.
That'll work.
All right. Now, you make good money. You're not bad with money. You're just in a situation that requires a strategy, not yelling at you, not a lecture. And so we've moved the podcast now to Thursdays. And so until next Thursday, Damon, I want to tell you, see ya.
Peace. Where's that millionaire next door?